Hey, this is Ina, in with you in the fight back. Today I want to talk about probably the most important socialist revolutionary who's ever come out of the country of Ireland, and that's James Connolly. James Connolly is probably most well known for his instrumental role in the Easter Uprising of 1916, where he gave his life to help free Ireland from British tyranny. Now, James Connolly was born in 1868 in Edinburgh and, of course, died in 1916. And James Connolly is commemorated more in Ireland as a nationalist, as a martyr for the cause, which he was. But James Connolly and many of his modes of thought, his views on nationalism and revolution, was very much a precursor of people like Ho Chi Minh or Mao Zedong or Fidel Castro in a sense. And that will become clear momentarily as we go into. James Connolly, of course, was of Irish descent. He actually served for a time in the British Army. And James Connolly was a revolutionary Marxist. He was a socialist. And this is, of course, during the era of the Second International. He becomes active in the early 1890s. And he isn't just fighting for Irish workers and Irish freedom, but he fights as a labor organizer in Scotland. And he comes for a time to the United States where he's an activist in the Industrial Workers of the World, the Socialist Labor Party, and the Socialist Party. And he sees there's no contradiction in what he does, because if it's workers of the world unite, there's no qualifying cause saying except for those workers in England or except for those workers in America. He's saying workers of the world unite is an actual slogan. It's something you're going to make real, flesh and blood. And he's very much influenced by syndicalist ideas as well, the idea of one big union of all the workers. And during World War I, like the best socialists of the Second International, for instance, Lenin, Rosa Luxemburg, Leon Trotsky, Antonio Gramsci, to name just a few, he opposes the war in saying that we should turn the imperialist war into a civil war. We should overthrow capitalism. And in Ireland, he's willing to unite with, in a sense, middle-class nationalists and to stage the first, it really is the first, major blow against the whole imperialist structure. Because the Easter Rising happens more than a year before the Russian Bolshevik Revolution and before the great European revolutions that usher in the war's end. But one thing that's always struck me about James Connolly is his linking, and this is more for oppressed nations than anything else, his linking, and this is before Mao or Fidel or Ho Chi Minh developed this linking of national liberation and social revolution. And James Connolly does not want to just idealize the past, as too often Irish nationalists do. They idealize the past, but they're not willing to formulate a distinct and definitive answer to problems of the present. And he's in favor of a republic, but he doesn't want a republic in France. He doesn't want a republic like the United States, which, just is run by money. What James Connolly wants is, let me just read to you a quote, and this will be found in the link below. If you remove the English army tomorrow and hoist the green flag over Dublin Castle, unless you set about the organization of the Socialist Republic, your efforts would be in vain. England would still rule you. She would rule you through her capitalists, through her landlords, through her financiers, through the whole array of commercial and individualist institutions she's planted in this country and watered with the tears of our mothers and the blood of our martyrs. England would still rule you to your ruin, even while your lips offered hypocritical homage at the shrine of that freedom whose cause you have betrayed. Nationalism without socialism, without the reorganization of society on the basis of a broader, more developed form of that common property which underlay the social structure of ancient Erin, is only national recurrent. It would be tantamount to a public declaration that our oppressors had so far succeeded in inoculating us with their perverted conceptions of justice and morality that we finally decided to accept those conceptions as our own and no longer needed an alien army to force them upon us. As a socialist, I am prepared to do all one man can do to achieve for our motherland her rightful heritage, independence. But if you ask me to obey one jot, a one title of the claims of social justice in order to facilitate the privileged classes, then I must decline. Such action would be neither honorable nor feasible. Let us never forget that he never reaches heaven who marches thither in the company of the devil. Let us openly proclaim our faith. The logic of events is with us. So what does Connolly mean? Irish nationalists wanted independent, not Ireland. But too many times, especially in the times Connolly's writing, they just want to put themselves in charge. They want to keep the Dublin slums. They want to keep farmers without land, workers without jobs, or if they have a job, to pay them crap. And Connolly is like, no, we're not going to compromise. If you want freedom, you have to rely upon, and he harkens back to the best traditions of Irish republicanism, Wolfe Tone, rely on those without property, the working class, the farmers. And through their actions, their collective actions, they can seize power, because that is the ideal worth fighting for. Not just to overthrow imperialism, which is necessary, but to go farther, to create an Ireland where all are equal, where the common property which had been usurped by English domination is its private property and its capitalist exploitation is replaced by a new higher form of social organization that we would call communism. And that's what Connolly was fighting for. And he fuses the linkage of the national liberation and social revolution that we would later see in China and Cuba and Vietnam, where to not just to free the country from imperialist control, but to free it from the institutions and the deprivations of capitalism and imperialism. And Connolly warns against the dangers of neo-colonialism in the quote I just gave to you. And Connolly is one of the great socialists who you should read, who you should study, and of the people I've read about in Ireland, he's one of those I admire the most. So I urge you to take Connolly's message to heart, and this is Ina just saying until next time.